So the United States issued sanctions a couple of days ago or last week with regards to Russian oil and gas. And I've already said that these sanctions are purely a publicity stunt. They're not going to work. They're not going to be effective. And the reason why I said that is because the European Union just cannot afford to cut European energy, Russian energy at this particular point. It's just not viable. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you dissect it, you discuss it, you slice it and dice it, right now, cutting Russian energy is not a viable option for European nations. So it's not going to happen. So Hungary, for instance, has already come on record to say they are not going to stop buying Russian oil, despite the Trump demand that NATO nations need to stop buying Russian oil and gas. Why is it so? The reason is that, for instance, have you seen the European map? Have you seen how close Hungary is to Russia? There is no other viable nation that can produce and supply oil and gas to Hungary at the efficiency and the cost that Russia is currently right now. They even told the United Nations that they can ensure safe supply of energy to Hungary without Russian oil and gas. And while they're saying that they understand Trump's perspective and Trump's approach to this, but on the Hungarian perspective, they just are not able right now to ensure energy security without the presence of Russian oil and gas in the mix. One of the issues that come with that is just a simple matter of physical infrastructure. It's just obvious that without Russian oil and gas for a country that is at that proximity to Russia, it is just impossible for them to get oil or gas from anywhere else as fast as they can get it from Russia and as cheap as they can get it from Russia. You just need to have a look at the map. Look at the map, look at where Hungary is, and look at where Russia is, and then it will all make sense. So the demands for Europeans to stop buying Russian energy in general, it's just a matter that is just not viable. It's not a serious position right now. Even though, for instance, Viktor Orban's government in Hungary is very close to Trump in terms of ideologically. Viktor Orban is one of Trump's ideological allies in Europe. Because right now there are very few conservative governments in Europe. So Viktor Orban is one of the closest allies of Trump's America. One could even say that any of these Eastern European nations are more aligned to Trump than any of these mainland European nations because those nations are conservative. But even with that, the practicality of cutting off Russian energy is just not viable right now. Let me make an example with regards to South Africa, for instance. South Africa relies a lot on Mozambican gas. The oil and gas refinery in Secunda gets a lot of gas from Mozambique. There's a pipeline that pipes gas from Mozambique to Secunda to the refinery there. This is this is the largest refinery in South Africa. If there were some problems with Mozambique, it would be virtually impossible for South Africa to just stop getting gas from Mozambique. This is a kind of example in terms of like there are just certain proximity, physical, existing infrastructure realities that just makes it impossible to just stop buying your life source from a a dependable source without a viable option available to you. That's really what is happening with European nations. If they stop buying Russian energy, where are they going to get energy from? That's really the question that Americans need to answer. And it's not as if they don't understand the American position on this, or they're not sympathetic. I don't even get it as far as to say that Ukraine is buying Russian oil and gas. That is how dependent Europe is to Russian energy, to the point that all of those European nations on the east of Europe, Ukraine, Poland, Romania, Hungary, of course, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, Finland, those nations can't survive without Russian energy. Moldavia, what is supposed to happen? What is supposed to happen? This is not a serious request right now. It's impossible to carry out. Um, it's just not possible. And I'm talking here from a government that is Viktor Orban is so closely aligned with American conservatives that he repeatedly speaks in CPAC conferences. But this is just a request that is not viable right now. So some people are saying that, that Hungary can get some of its energy sources from Croatia. But the problem there is that the cost is just not the same. And also, Croatia is not able to meet their energy needs at the rate that Russia is able to meet their needs. This is why I'm saying that it's just not viable. It's just not viable. So, and Brussels on its side, they are saying that let's rather introduce tariffs on Russian oil, on Russian energy, because they also can't win themselves off Russian energy right now. But they think, okay, maybe let's tax it, because if we tax it, we can use that money to give it to Ukraine or whatever. But they are also acknowledging that, you know what, practically speaking, right now, there's nothing that they can do. So, and when it comes to the main European nations of like France and Germany, those folks are not even gonna issue a statement. Those guys are just gonna continue buying Russian oil and gas. They're not even gonna ask for permission. They're not gonna say anything. They're just gonna continue buying it. Because honestly, what are they supposed to do? What I said a couple of months ago is that if the US is really serious about European nations not buying Russian energy, the US needs to start building a pipeline. Yes, all the way from America to Europe. That's the only way. That's the only way. Without a pipeline, you can't do this. You can't do this with ships. The cost is just too much. It's too much, and no one is going to buy your energy that you ship here by ships. It's just too expensive. The cost per unit is just too, it's unaffordable. So the only way that the US can supply energy to Europe or any other continent, to supply reliable energy to Europe, even if it's coming from the Middle East, you need to build a pipeline. That is what Russia did. They built Nord Stream pipeline, and they built a second pipe. You need to build. You need to put money into building these pipelines. At least, when it comes to the Middle East, at least they'll probably build at least 4,000 kilometers or 3,500 miles of pipelines. It's the only way. Until then, your sanctions on Russian energy are meaningless. Absolutely meaningless. What are these people supposed to do? What exactly are they supposed to do? Stop buying Russian energy and then buy what? And then do what? Alternatively, do what? Come on, guys. Let's be let's be serious about this.